Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome ringside as well as everybody watching online at showbarnflix.com. Welcome to the 2023 Colorado State Fair. We are going to have your open miniature Hereford show. While our ring help decides to get some last-minute changes done, we will introduce our judge for today's contest. Our judge is none other than Mr. Cash Brinsfield, originally from Tipton, Indiana. He now resides in Kiowa with his wife, Kirby, where they run a small cow-calf operation consisting of main influence and commercial cows. Cash is a graduate of Colorado State University and currently works for 21st Century Equipment. Coming in the ring is our Class 201 of junior heifer calves. These calves have calved on or after January 1st of 2023. We have 3 entries within this class. Entry 312 from John Carter. Date of birth is May 13th of 2023. We have entry 1042 from Snyder View with a date of birth of March 29th of 2023. And we have entry 1041 from Snyder View with a date of birth of February 8th of 2023. Again, these are your junior heifer calves in Class 201, which have calved on or after January 1st of 2023.
Test. Well, good morning and welcome to the show here. I think we've got three really nice heifers to begin our day. In my mind, I think it's fairly logical. We begin with the gentleman's heifer here. I think just in terms of pattern and performance, maybe she put things more together for me. In relation to the second heifer, I think she's a bigger centered heifer that has more depth of body. Both heifers are extremely good on the move and elegant out through her front. I just see that she's just further along there in the development of her rib, has a little bit more maternal look to her at this stage of the game. A young lady that brings hers out next, really long splide, elegant feminine made heifer. Again, I just think she gives up a little bit of depth of body and spring to the center portion of her rib in relation to that class winner to move up, but I certainly think the one that on down the road has that opportunity. Then the young man that winds up there, I think just as in terms of performance and maturity, is at a disadvantage at this point, but I encourage him to keep going. I certainly think he has a good future with that female.
Your results from Class 201 of Junior Heifer Calves. In third place, entry 312 from John Carter of Alt, Colorado. In second place, and your Junior Division Reserve Champion Heifer Calf, entry 1042 from Schneider View of Douglas, Wyoming. And your Class 201 winner and your champion for your Junior Heifer Calf Division is entry 1041 from Snyder View of Douglas, Wyoming. Set to enter the ring at this time will now be Class 202 of Senior Heifer Calves, calves September 1st through December 31st. Within this class, we have two entries. Entry 531 from Maggie Stone and entry 1197 from Roma Insico. The date of birth on 531 is November 30th of 2022. Date of birth on 1197 is October 1st of 2022.
Test. Nice pair of fall-born heifers that the exhibitor has brought out here for us. We're going to lead off with the young lady here to my right. I think that one, just in terms of mass and dimension, has a considerable advantage over the young lady's heifer here in second. One that you get around in front of her, and I do think she ties in more nicely over the point of her shoulder. Then from there back, I think, is where her main advantages lie. I think she's certainly has more spread over the top side of her skeleton. She's a deeper bodied, has more flare and dimension there to the center portion of her rib, and then you get behind her and she's certainly the bigger square hipped heifer. You know, ideally I'd like to see that one have a little bit more give and flex to those rear pasterns as she get outs and go, but I think that's being incredibly critical one that has so many good pieces to lead off the class there. The young lady here in Heifer, I really like the length of spine of that particular female. She's certainly more extended and feminine from her blade forward. Like I said, I think she just gets overpowered in terms of dimension and overall mass to take over that top spot. But really good pair. Let's give those exhibitors a nice hand.
Your results from Class 202 of senior heifer calves. In second place from Olathe, Maggie Stone. She also becomes your reserve champion senior heifer calf. And in first place and your champion senior heifer comes from Roma Insico. Up next within the program would be Class 203 of intermediate heifer calves. We have calves born May 1st through August 31st of 2022. Within this class, we have entries 1020 from Jackson Place with a date of birth of June 3rd of 2022. We have entry 1199 from Roma Insico with a date of birth of June 2nd, 2022. We have entry 313 from John Carter with a date of birth of May 19th of 2022. And lastly, we have entry 1196 from Flora Insico. Date of birth is May 7th of 2022. Again, these are your intermediate heifer calves, calved May 1st through August 31st of 2022. For some of you that are curious what a miniature Hereford is, a miniature Hereford is a full-blood Hereford. They are simply not as tall as the normal, ordinary Herefords you usually see out in pastures. Purebred miniature Herefords are free of the dwarf gene and are registered with the American Hereford Association, just like their large counterparts, and their pedigrees within the AHA trace all the way back to when Hereford cattle first set foot on American soil. They are small, compact, efficient breed of cattle. They eat 30 to 40% less than their full-size counterparts. They possess a gentle disposition, making them easy to handle. They mature more quickly than the standard breeds. They require less acreage and cost less to house, making them perfect for small farms. They do have superior feed conversion. They adapt to a variety of environments with varying conditions and temperatures.
really nice class of heifers the exhibitors brought to us today. We're going to lead off the young man in the hat. I think just in terms of quality, that's the one that puts the most things together for me. You know, is that one the thickest or the heaviest muscled one? Absolutely not. But I think just in terms of balance, style, and show ring presence, that one balances up extremely well. As you study that one from her blade forward, I think she's thinnest and shallowest through her neck. She blends extremely well over her shoulder into her forerib. She's a long splined heifer that's really straight in her top line, not wanting to cooperate the best for us here. And I think one of her main advantages as we watch her move around the ring, I think she has the most give and flex to both her front and rear passenger, and just kind of allows her to move out with the most ease and comfort. And second, we'll use the young lady in the black shirt here, one that maybe just gets a little bit more conventional in her look as we study that one through her front end, wants to get a little bit thicker and chuffier there from her blade forward, but one that I think in terms of mass and dimension, you have to appreciate the true cow power that one brings to this particular class. As we study her down her top, she certainly has the most spread, and she's certainly the boldest sprung and the heaviest muscled heifer that we have in class. The bottom pair I think is a little bit more interesting, maybe a little bit more studying that we need to do on them. I've elected to go to the young lady's heifer, one that maybe doesn't hit you right off the bat, but when I think you get down and truly evaluate these final two, she certainly has the most flex and give as we watch her get out and go, and I certainly like that about her as we maybe take that into consideration as we talk about longevity. And we'll end up with the young man's heifer here, one that I think tapers a little bit too much from her hip back, and one that wants to get just a little bit more awkward and uncoordinated as we watch those rear two as she goes and moves away from us. Let's give those exhibitors a nice class. Really a lot of differences there and some really good cattle.
Your results from Class 203 of intermediate heifers. In fourth place, entry 313 from John Carter of Alt, Colorado. Third place goes to entry 1196 from Flora Ensico of Wheat Ridge. In second place, and your reserve champion intermediate heifer, goes to entry 1199 from Roma Ensico. And your class winner and your division champion for your intermediate heifer goes to entry 1020 from Jackson Place of Windsor, Colorado. Up next is Class 204A of junior heifer calves. These calves have been born January 1st through April 30th of 2022. Within Class 204A, we should have entries 1254 from Jody Looney with a date of birth of January 23rd of 2022. We have entry 473 from Maggie Stone with a date of birth of February 28th of 2022. We'll also have an entry from Paisley Osment with a date of birth of March 9th of 2022. And we will have entry 1153 from Allison Griffin with the date of birth of March 25th of 2022. Again, this will be Class 204A coming into the ring of your junior heifer calves calved January 1st through April 30th of 2022. To begin talking about the miniature Hereford breed, miniature Herefords are awesome because of their smaller size and are much easier to handle compared to the large cattle. They require less space due to their size. They use less space for comfortable living quarters, and they eat far less food. Because of this, they make great backyard pets and can even help you obtain agricultural tax-exempt statuses. They have more ribeye per pound weight than larger cattle. Calves weigh an average of 30 to 50 pounds. They are considered a beef cattle. They do make great 4-H and FFA projects.
Really nice class here, and I think you bring out three different judges, and I think you'll have get them lined up probably three different ways. I guess in my mind, there's one that combines the most good in this particular class, and that's the young ladies here to my left. Get that heifer stopped, and she certainly balances up really nice for me in terms of proportionality. I think she's not the heaviest muscled, she's not the most three-dimensional, but she's more than adequate in those two areas. I certainly think she has enough openness to the forerib, and she carries that back throughout her body. She's not the heaviest muscled as we study her from the back, but again, I think she's more than adequate in the terms of power that she carries. I think her advantage in the class is we study her just in terms of her comfort, her squareness and trueness as we study her from the top side of her skeleton down to the ground, and I certainly think she has the clear advantage in that regard. We're going to come in second with the young lady's heifer here in the center of the class, one that has certainly that we talk about dimension and power. That's the one in this class. For me, she's maybe just a little bit more conventional up through her front end. Probably like to clean her up and extend her there. She could probably be trimmed up, just in terms of her overall condition. But there's no doubt that one has the most spread over her top, the most dimension through her rib cage, and the most squareness and width as we study her from the back. And then the young lady is going to wind out the class. Again, I really like the extra length of body that she brings to class. For me, she's the one that's a little bit harder in her look as we study there behind her blade. Wants to get a little bit more pinched through her forerib, a little bit drier in her rib shape. And I guess her biggest thing that gets me is I'd like just to see her a little bit more coordinated and true as we study her as she goes. She's wants to get a little bit closer to her hock and close up there at the ground in terms of the dimension she has on the top side of her skeleton. But a really interesting class there, a lot of give and take. Like I said, you could definitely get three different opinions and go a lot of different ways. I think as these exhibitors look on down the road on how we're going to mate those, there's lots of ways we can go to improve the next generation. But a really good class again. Let's put our hands together, please.
Your results from Class 204A of Junior Heifer Calves: in third place, entry 1153 from Allison Griffin. Second place goes to entry 1158 from Paisley Osment. And your class winner is entry 473 from Maggie Stone. Up next into the ring will be Class 204B. These are also still Junior Heifer Calves, calved January 1st through April 30th of 2022. We have entries 319 from Ledoux Pence with a date of birth of April 1st of 2022. We have entry 1195 from Flora Ensico with a date of birth of April 4th of 2022. We have entry 1156 from Charlia St. Louis with a date of birth of April 4th of 2022. We have an entry from Ada Pence with a date of birth of April 5th of 2022. We have entry 403 from Mesa Arnold with a date of birth of April 9th of 2022. And lastly, we have entry 314 from John Carter with a date of birth of April 26th, 2023. This is Class 204B of Junior Heifer Calves. After our judge selects your top exhibitors within this class of 204B, we will bring back our first and seconds from this class, as well as Class 204A, for our judge to select your champion and reserve champion Junior Heifer Calves.
Let's put our hands together for the exhibitors in this class. This is a super deep, really competitive class. I think there's really a lot of good cattle to sort here throughout. I guess the one I keep coming back to is the one in the center for me. I think she's really unique, and just kind of the pieces she puts together and the way she puts them together in a really nice, neat package. She's one that gives you a good look here from the side, has some show ring presence, really like the straightness of her lines. I'd like to see her a little bit longer moving or longer striding off those rear two as she gets out and goes, but I think she's plenty comfortable amongst these top three, and I think she just has an advantage as we get off and study them, just like I said, in the way that she's put together. Everything just fits up in terms of proportionality. I think she's one of the higher quality ones in this particular class. And second, we're going to come back with the lady to my left, having fits with that heifer, but I think you can't deny the quality of the livestock that she brings to the ring. Again, I think has a considerable advantage just in terms of length and extension over the one we've got in third. So I certainly like that about her. As we study her, just in terms of her skeleton herself as an individual, I think she certainly has more than enough adequate in terms of thickness and dimension. She's certainly a heavier structured female in relation to those top three. One that for me maybe just wants to get up on those rear two as she gets out and go in relation to that class winner. And third, one that excellently presented. Young lady has done an excellent job here in the class. One that for me just wants to get a little bit more compact in terms of her length of side, but one that's still in terms of her maternal ability and cow power, one that I think you have to appreciate the rib and dimension and muscularity that she brings to the class. Maybe just like to extend her throughout to get her over those top two. And fourth here, one that for me kind of follows the type and kind of that one we had in third. I think when you study her from back, she's one that wants to taper and get a little bit narrower as we study her from her hooks back. She's one that wants to close up and get a little bit closer to her hock as she goes away. Then we round up with the class with a couple, in my mind, that don't just balance up quite as nicely in relation to those top four. One that want to get a little bit deeper in their chest, maybe don't blend together, aren't as nice in their lines, but the exhibitors have done a really good job. Let's give those exhibitors a really nice hand as they exit the ring.
Your results from Class 204B of Junior Heifer Calves. In 6th place, entry 1195 from Flora Ensico. 5th place, entry 314 from John Carter. 4th place, Charlia St. Louis. 3rd place, Mesa Arnold. 2nd place, entry 319 from Ladue Pence. And your class winner is Ada Pence. In the ring at this time is now your first and seconds from Class 204A and 204B. We will be selecting your champion junior heifer calf.
Well, as we bring the winners of those two classes in this particular division back out here, I think I talked about the one here in this class. Maybe just didn't overwhelm you in terms of any one area, but one that was extremely complete in the fact that she was more than adequate in about everything that I'm looking for in terms of balance, muscularity, and dimensionality. And then I think there's one here that came out of that second class, a super deep class, that certainly excels in all those areas. She'll be your champion in this particular division. Let's give her a round of applause.
Your champion junior heifer calf comes from Class 204B. That is entry 317 from Ada Pence. Rolling into consideration for the reserve will be the second place from Class 204B. That is entry 319 from Ledoux Pence.
We dropped the second place in there, and I certainly, they're in class. That was a super deep class, and I thought those two in terms of type and kind were extremely close. One that I think, again, as we compare her to the one that won that class winner, and I think this is an excellent heifer that has a lot of future to her. I think just on this particular day, there's one that there's so much more of. Young lady that stood in second will be your reserve champion. Let's give her a nice hand.
Your reserve champion junior heifer in the Miniature Hereford Show comes from Class 204B. That is entry 319 from Ledoux Pence. At this time, we will bring back our division winners to select your grand champion and reserve champion females. Coming in the ring at this time is your champions for your Miniature Hereford Show for your open show. Your champion junior heifer calf is entry 1041 from Schneider View. Your champion senior heifer calf is entry 1197 from Roma Ensco. Your champion intermediate heifer calf is entry 1020 from Jackson Place. And your champion junior heifer is entry 317 from Ada Pence. Your reserve champions entering the ring at this time, entry 1042 from Schneider View. Your reserve champion senior heifer, entry 531 from Maggie Stone. Your reserve champion intermediate heifer, entry 1199 from Roma Ensico. And your reserve champion junior heifer, entry 319 from Ledoux Pence. These are your champion and reserve champions in consideration for your grand and reserve. Once again, the judge for today's contest has been none other than Mr. Cash Brinsfield. He's originally from Tipton, Indiana. He now resides in Kiowa with his wife. They run a small cow-calf operation consisting of Maine-influenced and commercial cattle. Cash is a graduate of Colorado State University. He currently works for 21st Century Equipment. Special thanks to our judge, Mr. Cash Brinsfield.
Let's put our hands together for the exhibitors that are back out here for our champion female drive. I guess as I worked through those classes and, I maybe apologize to those in the barn, back in the barn getting these ones ready. I moved through them a little quick. In an open show, I kind of have an eye for what I like, and so it doesn't take me usually too long to come to that conclusion. I guess, as we worked through them, I thought we were going to get these 4 class winners back out here, and it would just be a runaway for, a couple of them. And to be, a testament to you breeders, it's not. I think we get these 4 back out here, and there's certainly some qualities, some future, so all those things that I've been looking for throughout the day that we can see in these all 8 of these cattle. And so, like I said, I think that's a testament to you breeders that we get them all 4 lined back out here, and that's just not the case. I do think there's one that I continue to land on. I think she's an outlier in terms of some of the things that she brings to this particular breed in terms of the style and the balance, those added stoutness of feature. We study that one's foot at the ground. I think she's a more powerful female as we study her from front to ear. The young lady out of that Division 4 is going to be your champion female. Let's give her a nice hand.
Your grand champion female is entry 317 from Ada Pence. Rolling into consideration for reserve will be the reserve from that division. That is entry 319 from Ledoux Pence.
again, we roll that second or reserve out of that last division in. I think you really don't notice a lot of a difference in just in those extras that I think she brings to this lineup. Like I said before, I think maybe it gets a little bit closer. There's a couple things that I maybe picked on in her class, but that was an awfully deep class, and I'm not going to separate those two. She'll be your reserve.
Your reserve grand champion female is also your reserve champion junior heifer. That is entry 319 from Ladue Pence. At this time, we will get started with our bull portion of our show. In the ring at this time is now Class 220 of junior bull calves. These calves were born on or after January 1st of 2023. We have 3 entries. Entry 1043 from Schneider View with a date of birth of February 24th of 2023. We have entry 316 from John Carter with a date of birth of May 20th of 2023. We have entry 1207 from Colton Baumgarten with a date of birth of June 11th, 2023. This completes your Class 220 of junior bull calves. Your first and seconds within this class will be your champion and reserve champion.
a nice class of younger bulls, and as you can all see, there's quite a bit of age difference from one end to the other here. We're going to lead off the ladies' older bull here, one that I think just in terms of presence and style, I think one that you have to appreciate, certainly at a considerable performance advantage in terms of the other two, but one that I think still, as you get down and study him as an individual, and wish we had some more maybe contemporaries here to evaluate him with. He's one that you like that smoothness of pattern that he has. He's really nice and extended from his front end there. He certainly is more than adequate in terms of the rib and dimension he brings, and I think for this stage in his life, he certainly is more than adequate in terms of the muscularity that he carries there as you study him from the rear, one that maintains that dimension and width as we study him from his hooks to his pins, and he's certainly a sound structured bull as we get out and evaluate him on the move. I think there's some give and take between the little bulls here, and I like the young man in the middle to go second. As I study that one, I think he has more dimension over his top, and as we really get back and look at him and evaluate him from his hooks back, that one gets progressively wider. If we study him through the middle of his quarter there, he has more thickness and dimension at this stage of his life. Now, evaluating bulls this young can certainly make a judge look like an idiot on down the line, but that's the way I see him today. I just see this one a little bit more plainer and frailer in his overall feature. He's one that's a little bit narrower, but a nice extended bull that I think, as we study him out on the line, is going to make a nice breeding piece for this young man. Let's give these exhibitors a nice hand as they exit.
Your results from Class 220 of Junior Bull Calves: in third place, entry 316 from John Carter. In second place, and your division reserve champion, is entry 1207 from Colton Bumgardner. And in first place, and your champion for the Junior Bull Calf division, is entry 1043 from Schneider View. Up next in the program will be Class 223. These are junior bulls, calved at January 1st through April 30th of 2022. We will have a single entry within this class. This will be entry 1044 from Schneider View of Douglas, Wyoming. Date of birth on this animal will be February 25th of 2022.
Single entry the gentleman brings to us here, and I guess just to evaluate him individually, I think he's a really ruggedly constructed bull. As we study him at the ground, he has a big foot under him. He certainly ample amount of the bone he has. I think he's really smooth in his pattern. Maybe one if I'd like to fix. He maybe wants to drop his pins as he gets out and goes. But like I say, just in terms of a good breeding bull, as we look on down the line here, he's certainly good in terms of his testicular development. And like I said, just his stoutness of feature and rugged look that he gives you, I certainly appreciate. So let's give him a hand as he exits the ring.
Your results from Class 223 of Junior Bulls: in first place, and your division champion, is entry 1044 from Schneider View. Up next into the ring will be Class 224 of Senior Bull Calves, calved January 1st through December 31st of 2021. Within this class, we will have three entries. Entries 1154 from Allison Griffin, with a date of birth of April 5th of 2021. We'll have entry 1255 from Jody Looney, with a date of birth of October 25th of 2021. And we will also have Entry 396 from Trey Stone with a date of birth of December 17th of 2021. This will be your class of Senior Bulls, born at January 1st through December 31st of 2021. This is the only class within the division, so therefore your first and seconds within this class will become your champion and reserve champion Senior Bulls.
Really nice pair here in our final class in the Bull division. I think there's some give and take. The one I'm going to elect to use is the young ladies here. I think just in terms of balance and style, one that brings a little bit extra as we study that one from his shoulder forward, one that's really extended and trim there. He's certainly a longer bull that's straighter in his lines. He has more thickness as we study him at the top of his hip and carries that advantage down to the ground. And without question, he's a bigger testicled bull that still gets out and goes relatively good. Now, I would like to fix him off his rear too. I think that's where he gets a little bit shorter striding in relation to our second place calf. But that one I think has some pieces that are awfully unique. That, like I said earlier, we study them and look at the calf crop that they can go ahead and throw and hopefully improve what as breeders we're trying to do in any of our programs. I think that one's got some pieces that can be utilized to do some of those things. Now, not to take anything away from this gentleman's bull, I think one that balances up really nice just in terms of proportionality. He's without question a bigger barreled bull that has some more width and dimension there through the center portion of his body. One that for me wants to taper as we study him in terms of muscularity from the rear. He wants to be a little bit plainer from his blade forward, but he is without question the sounder of those two bulls. So like I said, there's some give and take there. I like the young lady first, young man second. Let's give them a nice hand as they exit the ring.
Your results from Class 224 of Senior Bulls: in second place and your reserve champion Senior Bull is entry 396 from Trey Stone of Olathe, Colorado. And in first place and your champion Senior Bull, entry 1154 from Allison Griffin of Strasburg. At this time, we will bring back our first and seconds and our champion and reserve champion to select your Grand and Reserve Champion bulls within your miniature Hereford Open show.
Well, let's put our hands together for all the bull exhibitors we've had out here. I think we get these three back here, and there's quite a few differences, but I see a lot of things, a lot of useful things that I like. that the exhibitors and breeders can go and build on down the line. You know, I think there's a tremendous amount of quality in the calf here. One that like I talked in class, just his smoothness of pattern and still having those indicators that on down the line he's going to go ahead and blossom and bloom and add more pounds of muscle on as he matures, and that's just the opportunity that he needs. You know, I think all the pieces are there for him to keep coming and mature into a really, really nice bull for that lady. Gentleman in the middle, I think, just in terms of performance, boy, if you can't find this one, there's the big rugged bull that just has some mass and three-dimensional look to him, really rugged, and as we study him at the ground, and just a bull that is going to go out and be able to travel some miles and put some work in, and like I said, just in terms of performance, just has a tremendous advantage amongst the three we have here on this day. And then we talked in class, the one with some unique pieces, I think, is the one that come out of that last division. We get off and study that one from the look and just some things that he brings to the table. One that I think certainly has some pieces that some guys can capitalize on to change their calf crop going on down the road. So I don't think you could go wrong using any of them. For me, there's one today that I think there's just too many positives to in this lineup that I just can't get past. Gentleman in the middle is going to have your grand champion bull here today.
Your grand champion bull comes from the junior bull calf division of class 223. That is entry 1044 from Schneider View. That is Schneider View Zeke.
I think we move him out, and like I said, none of those things change. I just think, in terms of muscularity and where we're at this particular juncture in their lives, we're going to use the young lady here to my left as a reserve grand champion bull.
Your reserve grand champion bull is also your champion senior bull from class 224. That is entry 1154 from Allison Griffin with Sassy Miniman. We will get all of our bull calves out of the ring, and we will get started with the Class 233 of junior market steers. These market steers are over 12 months, but not over 24 months. We will have a total of 6 entries within Class 233. In the ring at this time is Class 233 of Junior Market Steers. These steers are over 12 months in age, but not over 24 months. We have entry 311 from Chase Hunter. We have entry 1033 from Lillian Stavig. Entry 1034 also from Lillian Stavig. Entry 482 from Trey Stone. Entry 476 from Maggie Stone. And entry 1208 from Alex Bumgardner. This is the only class within the division as well as the Junior Market Steers show. So your first and seconds within this class will become your champion and reserve grand champion, Junior Market Steers. After our judge, Cash Brinsfield, selects your Grand and Reserve Champion Junior Market Steers, we will be pausing for a 10 to 15 minute picture break, and then we will get started with our Junior Miniature Hereford show after the conclusion of our pictures at the backdrop.
Well, here in our steer division, I think there's one that came in the ring and hit me awful hard. We're going to lead off the young man here in the hat. I think just in terms of market readiness and muscularity and overall dimension and the pounds of product he brings to the table, that one comes to the top, and he comes to the top pretty quick. Between second and third, I think it gets a little closer, and I had to kind of go back and put my hands on those just to make sure that I remembered where they were in terms of their finish, and I think there's some differences there. The gentleman's steer has a little bit more finish over his rear rib, and the young lady's steer, I think, is perfectly fine over his front rib. I certainly think hers is the more stylish and eye-appealing one as we get off and study him from the side, and without question, he's going to go ahead and be the higher cutability calf of that pair. Certainly a well-balanced, handling one here that the young man does land in third with. One that, like I said, maybe just gets a little bit plainer as we study him up through his front end, but one that you study just in terms of his market animal shape and what he brings to the table just in terms of carcass quality, one that I think you have to appreciate. And then we round out the class with a few that I think just need more days on feed to go ahead and mature and put on that finish. We have some cattle down there that are certainly more than adequate in terms of muscularity in relation to industry standards. I think just in terms of the finish that they handle with over that fore and rear rib, just more days on feed, and they'll go ahead and finish up really nice for those exhibitors. Let's give them all a big hand as they exit the ring. Thanks, guys. It's been a fun day.
Your results from Class 233 of Junior Market Steers. In sixth place, entry 476 from Maggie Stone. Fifth place, entry 311 from Chase Hunter. Fourth place, entry 482 from Trey Stone. Third place, entry 1033 from Lillian Stavig. Second place, entry 1034 from Lillian Stavig. And your class winner, entry 1208 from Alex Baumgardner. Alex Baumgardner with entry 1208 becomes your grand champion junior market steer. And entry 1034 from Lillian Stavig becomes your reserve grand champion junior market steer. At this time, we will be pausing for 10 to 15 minutes for our picture break over at the backdrop, and then we will get started with our junior miniature Hereford show. Second call for Class 302 of senior heifer calves. Please report to the holding ring for your junior miniature Hereford show. We will get started and underway at 11:45. Please report to the holding ring, Class 302. Class 303, please be on deck and ready. Thank you. Final call for Class 302 of miniature Herefords of our senior heifer calves. Please report to the holding ring. Coming into the ring at this time is now your Class 302 of senior heifer calves, calved on or between September 1st through December 31st. We have 2 entries within this class. We have entry 531 from Maggie Stone, and we have entry 1197 from Roma Insco. Our exhibitors and parents will notice that we have made a judge change. Our judge for the Junior Miniature Hereford Show is Kirby Brinsfield, and that name does sound familiar because her husband just judged the Open Show. Kirby did remove herself from the arena so she couldn't have any prior conceptions of the classes, and we'll see if Kirby does just as good, if not better, than her husband. She grew up on a ranch near Kiowa, Colorado. She currently lives there with her husband, Cash, and they have the small cow-calf operation. She graduated from Texas Tech University and currently the operations manager for Western Livestock Journal. We appreciate Kirby and her husband judging today's contests.
Right. All right, thanks for having me and Cash out here today to evaluate your mini Hereford show. It's certainly a joy to be out here looking at some livestock and working with your kids today, and we really appreciate you bringing your cattle to Pueblo for us to evaluate. In this first class of heifer calves, I'm going to go ahead and lead off with this young lady who's making a circle out here right now. I just think this heifer has a little bit more mass and dimension. She's bolder in her rib shape, and she definitely comes truer in that rib shape right behind that shoulder and her forerib, and she comes out with more mass and dimension. I definitely like to see her go with more flex and have a little bit more set to that hock, but that's a nice heifer to lead off our class. The young lady's heifer that's going to come in second is more refined and a little bit more feminine through her front end, I think, than compared to the heifer in front of her, but she just doesn't have the mass and dimension, and I see her getting a little bit tighter in that lower forerib, but a nice heifer with a little extra extension and length of body to come in second.
Your results from Class 302 of senior heifer calves. In second place, entry 531 from Olathe, Colorado, that's Maggie Stone. In first place, entry 1197 from Roma Ensico of Wheat Ridge. Those were the only 2 senior heifer calves. Therefore, they will be your champion and reserve champion senior heifer calves. Up next into the program will be Class 303 of intermediate heifers. These heifers have been calved May 1st through August 31st of 2022. We will have a total of 4 entries. We have entry 1020 from Jackson Place with a date of birth of June 3rd of 2022. Entry 1194 from Flora Ensico with a date of birth of June 2nd of 2022. We have entry 1198 from Roma Ensico with a date of birth of May 7th, 2022. And we have entry from John Carter with Rockin' Bee Gizmo. This completes your class of 303 of intermediate heifers. The date of birth on John Carter's heifer is May 19th of 2022.
All right, a nice class here. Give all these kids a big round of applause. I think all 4 of these kids did a really great job out here. I'm going to lead off with this young lady's heifer. For me, she's just the one that puts all the pieces together. I think she balances up nice from the profile. She comes out with plenty of width from behind, stays fairly true in the way she wants to track. She stays wider tracking, and she's really good about that rib shape. If I were to fix her, I would like to make her a little bit more feminine and attractive when she's set still, and that's where the heifer in second has that advantage. I think she is the most feminine heifer in class, and when she sets up and she gets planted, she looks really good from the side. She's a nice striking female, but for me, I just read her to get a little bit too narrow out of her pins. She gets flatter out of that quarter, and then what's most concerning is when she walks away, she is the narrowest tracking heifer in the class, so if we could just make her a little bit wider from there into the ground, she'd certainly make this top pair really competitive. The young man's heifer here in third is really a broody female, lots of rib shape, big out of her upper hip. For me, she just wants to get a little bit too straight off of either end. If we could just relax in her angles and get her to go out and go with a little bit more athleticism, she could certainly find her way up. And the young lady's heifer that's coming out here in fourth, definitely a deep-sided, big-ribbed heifer, just needs a little bit more look and eye appeal through that front end to compete with some of these heifers. But give these kids a big round of applause.
Your results from Class 303 of intermediate heifers: in fourth place, entry 1198 from Wheat Ridge, Colorado. That's Roma Insco. In third place, we have entry 313 from John Carter. In second place, and your reserve champion intermediate heifer, is entry 1020 from Jackson Place. And in first place, and your champion, entry 1194 from Flora Insco. At this time in the ring, we will now have Class 304A of junior heifers. These heifers have calved on or between January 1st through April 30th of 2022. We have 4 entries within Class 304A. We have entry 1254 from Jody Looney, entry 473 from Maggie Stone, an entry from Paisley Osmond, and entry 1153 from Allison Griffin. That will be your Class 304A of junior heifer calves.
Another nice class out here of these mini Hereford heifers, and I have to say, disposition-wise, if there was any better, I haven't seen them, because some of these heifers are just like dogs out here following these kiddos around, and that's great for these kids to give them a good positive experience. And I'm going to go ahead and lead off with this young lady here at the end. I think this heifer is just the complete heifer. She's just the one who doesn't have any big glaring holes. She has the femininity. She has plenty of rib shape. She comes plenty square out from behind, and she's sound on the go. Where I would like to fix her, I'd like to clean her up in her throat a little bit and make her a little bit cleaner out of that tail head. She wants to get a little bit coarse there, but those are nitpicky, more aesthetic things. She's certainly a practical female in her own right. The heifer that's going to come out second, this is the one that's big, broody, and massive, tons of rib shape, tons of dimension down her top, wide and stout made. But along with that, she gets a little bit shorter fronted. She's not as feminine. She is carrying all that mass and dimension, so it's not surprising that we'd like to see her a little bit more feminine and refined through that front end. And this young lady's heifer that's coming out in third has some class advantages. She's certainly the highest performing. I think she's really extended through her front end. I love her femininity and her length of body. But when you get to studying the nitty-gritty parts and pieces of these females, I think she gets a little bit too narrow from behind. She's the narrower tracking heifer of the class, and I just don't see her as having the big, bold rib shape of the heifers who go in front of her. But give these kids a big, nice round of applause.
Your results from Class 304A of junior heifers. In third place, entry 1153 from Strasburg, Colorado. That's Allison Griffith. In second place, we have Paisley Osment of Kingsburg. And your class winner, entry 473 from Maggie Stone of Olathe, Colorado. Up next into the ring will be Class 304B. These are still junior heifer calves, calved January 1st through April 30th of 2022. Within this class, we will have entry 319 from Ladue Pence with a date of birth of April 1st of 2022. We have entry 1156 from Charlia St. Louis with a date of birth of April 4th, 2022. We have entry 1195 from Flora Insco with a date of birth of April 4th, 2022. We have entry 318 from Bristol Pence, date of birth April 5th, 2022. We have an entry from Ada Pence with a date of birth of April 5th, 2022. We'll have an entry 1021 from Mesa Arnold with a date of birth of April 9th of 2022. And finally, we'll have an entry 314 from John Carter with a date of birth of April 26th, 2022. After our judge selects your first and seconds within Class 304B, we will bring back our first and seconds from 304A and B to select your champion junior heifer calves. Second call for our first and seconds from Class 304A. Please report to the holding ring. Second call, Class 304A, first and seconds. Please report to the holding ring.
All right, another great class out here. I think the quality is really deep in this class, all the way from first to sixth, and I'm going to go ahead and lead off with this young lady here in the blue shirt. To me, this is just the heifer that hits you the hardest when you walk in. She's certainly presented well. She gives you a really cool look from the side, plenty of rib shape, plenty of width and dimension. Now, I would like to fix her and give her more flex off of those rear pasterns, but I think she's plenty sound and practical to go ahead and win this class. Nice heifer to lead off with. I think there's some decisions to be made when you get down here further into second, even into sixth place. And for me, it's really tough between second and third because there's things that I like about both. But this young lady's darker red heifer here that's making a lap, I think she's the one that's really dimensional, really bold, sprung in her rib shape, has lots of width and dimension down her top and out of her upper hip. I would like to extend her out of that hip a little bit and make her just a little bit more flexible off those rear two. But I think that's a really nice, broody female that's going to have a nice future for that young lady. The young man's heifer that's going to come out here in third, this one is super sound when you get her out on the move. She's the one that has the most flex and athleticism as she walks around the ring. And I love her when he gets her set up. She's really good out of her spine. I love the way her tail head's laid into her. She gives you a really nice look from the side. She's a really complete female. Where she falls third for me is she doesn't have the dimension and overall rib shape and width and mass of the heifers that come in front of her, but I definitely think there's a lot of great breeding pieces for this young man moving forward. The young man that's going to come out here in fourth, he's got another really big ribbed, big hipped heifer. For me, it's on the profile. She gets a little bit too round out of that hip. She's straighter off of those rear two, but a nice practical female for this young man to go out in fourth place. And then the next two young ladies, they both have the same kind of trade-offs. For me, this young lady's heifer gets a little bit too round out of that hip and straight off of those rear two, and then she doesn't follow up with the width and dimension of the heifer that goes in front of her, but really nice out of her front end. I think one of these heifers is called Doll Face, and she does have a really cute little doll face. I think it's this young lady's, but a nice heifer to go out in fifth. And the young lady coming out in sixth, like I said, she has a really cute little doll face. She's feminine through that front end, but if we could make her a little bit bolder in that rib shape, specifically in that lower fore rib, and drop her down in her flank, give her a little bit more dimension, it would certainly complement that look from the side. But give these kids a nice round of applause.
Your results from Class 304B of Junior Heifer Calves: in 6th place, entry 1195 from Flora Ensco. 5th place, entry 1156 from Charlia St. Louis. 4th place, entry 319 from Ladue Pence. 3rd place, entry 314 from John Carter. In 2nd place, entry 1021 from Mesa Arnold. And your class winner, entry 319 from Ada Pence. At this time, we will bring back our first and seconds from Class 304A and 304B for our judge to select your champion and reserve champion junior heifers. From Class 304A, in first place, we have entry 473 from Maggie Stone. From Class 304B, in first place, we have entry 318 from Ada Pence. Your second place from Class 304A will be Paisley Osment. And your second place from Class 304B will be Mesa Arnold. These are your junior heifer calves in contention for your champion and reserve champion junior heifers. If we could have all of our champion and reserve champions for our female portion of the Junior Miniature Hereford Show, please report to the holding ring. We will be selecting your champion and reserve champion in the female show. So please, if you are a champion or reserve champion, report to the holding ring as we will get set to select our grand champion and reserve champion females.
I think it's pretty tough in this division to get around this young lady's heifer here, so she's going to go ahead and be your division champion.
Your junior heifer division champion comes from Class 304B. That is entry 318 from Ada Pence. Rolling into consideration for reserve will be the second from Class 304B. That is entry 1021 from Mesa Arnold. Your reserve champion junior heifer also comes from Class 304B. That is the second place of entry 1021 from Mesa Arnold. At this time, we will bring back our champion and reserve champions from our respective divisions for your grand and reserve champion female selections. In the ring is our champion and reserve champions from their respective divisions. Your champion heifer calf comes from Class 302. That is entry 1197 from Roma Ensco. Your champion intermediate heifer comes from Class 303. That is entry 1194 from Flora Ensco. And from your junior heifer division, your champion is Ada Pence, coming from Class 304B. Your reserve champions include entry 531 from Maggie Stone, entry 1020 from Jackson Place, and entry 1021 Mesa Arnold.
Let's give all these kids out here a big round of applause. I'd like to thank all of them for bringing their cattle out here. I know it's a lot of work at home and the time that you spend to just show for a brief period out here in the arena, and I really appreciate you bringing them out here for us to evaluate. And I think it was a really great heifer show from top to bottom, from our calves all the way up to our senior division here. And with that being said, there's one that I gravitated pretty early in class, and I don't think it will come as any surprise that this young lady here will have your champion heifer. We'll go ahead and pull in the second place as I contemplate for reserve.
Your grand champion female comes from your last division, which is your junior division. That is entry 318 from Ada Pence. Rolling into consideration for the reserve grand will be the reserve champion from your junior division, and that is Mesa Arnold.
I think that class that heifer came out of in that division was really tough, and this young lady here will have your reserve.
Your reserve grand champion female from your junior miniature Hereford show is entry 1021 of Mesa Arnold. Up next in your junior miniature Hereford show, we will have Class 320 of junior bull calves calved on or after January 1st of 2023. Within this class, we show two entries. Entry 1207 from Colton Baumgardner with a date of birth of June 11th, 2023. We also have entry 316 from John Carter with a date of birth of May 20th, 2023. This will complete your class of junior bull calves calved on or after January 1st of 2023.
All right, out here we have Small Town and Teddy. Let's give them a big round of applause. Definitely the cutest class we've had of the day. I'm going to go ahead and lead off with this young man here out to the right. I think this one, just the way his the way his skeleton is built in him, is really good. I love the way his shoulders laid into him, the way he comes down his spine, and the way he's set down in all of those joints. I think long term this guy will grow and be a really nice project for you moving forward. And Teddy here coming out in second. This pair is absolutely adorable. I like the way this little guy is built through his front end. He's got plenty of spring of rib. He's just got a little bit less performance than the guy in front of him, and if we could fix him out of that upper hip, this pair could get really competitive. But give them a big round of applause.
Your results from Class 320 of Junior Bull Calves: in second place and your reserve champion for that respective division is entry 1207 from Colton Bumgarner. And in first place in your champion Junior Bull Calf is entry 316 from John Carter. At this time, we will bring in Class 324 of Senior Bull Calves, calved on or between January 1st through December 31st of 2021. We have a total of 3 entries within this class. Entry 1154 from Allison Griffin, date of birth April 5th, 2021. Entry 1255 from Jody Looney with a date of birth of October 25th, 2021. And entry 396 from Trey Stone with a date of birth of December 17th of 2021. This will complete your class of 324 Senior Bull Calves.
These two bulls that we've got out here, they're totally different in the way that they're made and where their strengths are and where we'd like to fix them. And so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about them here for a second. This young man's bull, he's the soggy looking bull who I think looks like he's the more maternally geared bull. He's deeper in his rib shape. He's softer in that rib shape. He's bolder right in that mid rib shape. And then when he gets out and goes, he's plenty sound and functional. Where I would like to fix him, I think he has a little bit too much set to his hock, and I'd like to fix his foot shape. He gets a little bit shallow heeled and a little bit longer on those toes, and I'd like to fix that just for a longevity purpose. Then this young lady's bull coming here behind him, this one's really cool in the way that he has his length of body, the way he's extended through his front end. I actually read him to be stouter in his foot and bone work, and then I like his foot shape a little bit better. He's a little bit deeper heeled, a little rounder in the way that foot is constructed. And then when you get behind the cattle, I think he has more width and dimension out of his upper hip, and then he has more shape through his lower quarter and stifle. And so you have some trade-offs. You have a little bit more of a terminally driven bull here in that he has more shape and expression of muscle, but I don't read him to have the same boldness in his rib, especially through his forerib. And then you have this guy here who's the softer, soggier package. And so you have trade-offs, and it just depends on which way you want to go with your cattle. I think my personal preference today is going to be this young lady's bull right here. Sure, I'd like to see him go out and have more flex off of those rear two, but when we want these bulls to bring the added power and muscle and dimension, I think he does have that advantage. Not to take away from this young man's bull that's going to come out here in second. I certainly think he has his parts and pieces that are going to go out and generate nice offspring in their own merit. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Your results from Class 324 of senior bull calves. In second place, and your division reserve champion, entry 396 from Trey Stone. And your class winner and your division champion is entry 1154 from Allison Griffin. At this time, we will bring back our first and seconds within our bull categories to select your grand champion and reserve champion junior bulls. Your champions include your champion junior bull calf, entry 316 from John Carter. And your champion senior bull is entry 1154 from Allison Griffith. Your reserve champions, your junior bull calf comes entry 1207, Colton Bumgardner. And your reserve senior bull, entry 396 from Trey Stone. These are the bulls in consideration for your grand and reserve champion bulls in your junior miniature Hereford show.
Let's give our bull exhibitors a big round of applause. Just trying to give them a minute here to show off their hard work and all the time and effort that they've put into their animals, and let Teddy have another round of glory out here with his partner there. Once again, really appreciate you guys bringing these guys to town for me to evaluate. And I think it was pretty tough, that last class, the debate between the two of them. And so your first and second out of that last class will be your Grand and Reserve Bull. Congratulations to you guys.
Your Grand Champion Junior Miniature Hereford Bull comes from Class 324, that is entry 1154, Allison Griffin. And your Reserve Grand Champion also comes from Class 324, that is entry 396, from Trey Stone. Hey, Tammy Arnold, are we taking a break for pictures before showmanship, or are we going to go right into showmanship? Oh, steers, sorry, but yeah, I guess. The question is still valid for steers. Are we taking a break after steers to showmanship? We're going to keep rolling. Okay. Thank you for clarification. On to the next portion of our Junior Miniature Hereford Show is our Junior Market Steers divisions. In the ring at this time is now Class 333. These market steers are over 12 months of age but under 24 months. We have entries 1208 from Alex Baumgartner, entry 476 from Maggie Stone, entry 482 from Trey Stone, 2 entries from Lillian Stavig, entries 1033 and 1034, and entry 311 from Chase Hunter. This completes your Class 333 of Junior Market Steers. This is the only class and division within this show, so this will become your Champion and Reserve champion in your Junior Market Steer division.
right, give it up for these steer exhibitors. You guys already did, so you don't have to do it again. I'm going to lead off with this young man steer here right to my left. He's the one that walks in the ring and he just hits you as the big, powerful market steer of the class, and that's exactly what he is. And he throws in some extra added look when he gets him planted and set up. Sure, he's not the most comfortable off of his rear too, but he's the most powerful, most dimensional, and he's really nice and mellow over those last ribs. He's a nice steer to lead this class off with. Coming in second is going to be this young lady here at the end. This is one that when she gets him parked, he looks really cool. He's really cool out of his front end and comes real level down his top and balances up nice. To me, he gets a little bit straighter off either end of his skeleton, and actually that's kind of what makes him look cool when he gets set up. But if we could lay him back in those angles and relax him a little bit, I'd like to see him go a little bit sounder around the ring. But quite honestly, he just can't compete with the power of our class winner, so he's a nice second place. Coming in third, this young lady steer is just a real complete steer. He's really mellow over his last ribs. He's a nice soggy calf who has plenty of dimension and muscle, and this young lady does a nice job with him. The next two coming out, they're very similar in the way that they're built. I'd like to see them both come square out of their hip and have more dimension through that lower quarter, but they're both nice, easy feeding calves that these young men have done an exceptional job with. And the young lady with Buddy there on the end, he is definitely the prettiest guy out here with the bow in his hair, and he's a nice, good-looking calf from the side. He just needs a little bit more time on feed, drop him in that flank, give him a little bit more power from behind, but a nice steer to round out the class. Give these kids a big round of applause again.
Your results from Class 333 of Junior Market Steers within your Junior Miniature Hereford show. In 6th place, entry 311 from Chase Hunter. 5th place is entry 482 from Trey Stone. 4th place is entry 1033 from Lillian Stavig. 3rd place goes to entry 476 from Maggie Stone. In 2nd place, and your reserve Grand Champion Junior Market Steer, entry 1034 from Lillian Stavig. And your Grand Champion in 1st place, entry 1208 from Alex Bumgardner. And we are going to roll right into showmanship, right into this class of 401 of pre-junior showmen. To qualify for a pre-junior, you have to be 3 to 7 years of age. Within our class of pre-juniors, we will have Chase Hunter, Charlia St. Louis, Paisley Osmond, Maggie Stone, and Colton Bumgardner. These will be the 5 exhibitors registered for your pre-junior showmanship class. In showmanship, our judge will be considering the appearance of animal, the showmanship ability of the exhibitor, and the exhibitor's appearance, courtesy, and knowledge. Within your pre-juniors, it's not a prerequisite to be extremely cute, but it definitely does help. Our showmanship classes have been broken up into 4 age categories, and the ring is our pre-juniors. Up next will be the juniors, followed by intermediates and seniors.
Hey, give these guys a big round of applause. Out here working hard. I honestly can't believe that you guys are making me place these kids because I think they're all awesome and they all deserve first place. And when you talk to any of them, they have hilarious things to tell you. In fact, we have some friendships being formed out here. She asked if he was going to go on the spinny thing after this class, so I hope they get the opportunity to do that. I'm going to go ahead and lead off with this young lady here with the buddy with the bow. She did a great job the whole class getting her steer set up, getting him led around the ring, and getting herself in a great position. She does a really good job out here. This young lady who's going to come in second does an awesome job from the time she steps into the ring until she gets through the class. Unfortunately for her, she kind of got herself in a little bit of a pickle down there at the end, but once we got her out here and got her around, she really got that heifer set up and did an awesome job. Good job. And today is her birthday. She told me that, so tell her happy birthday. And these three that we have out here coming in third, fourth, and fifth, all three of them did an excellent job. The young man did a great job getting Teddy set up. And these two young ladies, I told them we just got to work on getting them lined up on the profile and set up, but they did an awesome job, and I hope they get to go do something fun this afternoon. Give them another round of applause.
Your results from Class 401 of Pre-Junior Showman: in 6th place, Paisley Osment. In 5th place, Maggie Stone. Correction, 5th place was Paisley Osment. 4th place was Maggie Stone. 3rd place is Colton Baumgardner. And 2nd place is Charlie St. Louis. And your class winner is Chase Hunter. Up next into the program will be our junior showman. To qualify for junior showmanship, you must be 8 to 11 years of age. This is Class 404. Within this class, we have an entry from Flora Ensko, Mesa Arnold, Ladue Pence, Paisley Osment, and Alex Baumgardner. These are your 4 showmen to compete for your Champion and Reserve Champion Junior Showman.
Give these four a big round of applause. I went ahead and talked to these two young men here on the end, gave them some pointers of little things that they could do, and they got stacked up with a couple of really competitive girls here on the end, and I went ahead and told them, but the young man on the very far end will be third, and the young man here with his heifer Gwen will be fourth. And I talked to them about little things that they could do to improve, so I won't get too long-winded on the mic with that, and I'll go ahead and talk about these two young ladies. From the time they walked in, they made it super competitive with each other. They both do a really great job with the way they position themselves and the way they get their heifers set up. It just came down between two little things as the class wore on. And I'm going to go ahead and lead off with the young lady here in the red shirt. She was just really consistent the whole time, did a really great job keeping her calf set up, everything looking the way it needed to look. And this young lady here that's going to be second, honestly, when they first walked in, I thought she was going to run away with it, but a couple of times she gets out of position and doesn't correct it quite as quickly. And that's ultimately what brought her down into second, but a really competitive pair of two showmen there. Go ahead and give them another big round of applause.
Your results from Class 404 of Junior Showman: in fourth place, we have Ledoux Pence. Third place is Alex Baumgardner. Your reserve champion Junior Showman is Flora Ensko. And your grand champion Junior Showman is Mesa Arnold. At this time, we will bring in our Class 407 of Intermediate Showmen. To qualify for Intermediate, you have to be 12 to 15 years of age. Within our Intermediate show, we will have entry from John Carter, Roma Ensico, Bristol Pence, Trey Stone, and Allison Griffith.
Let's give these guys a big round of applause. A really competitive class of intermediate showmen out here. I think top to bottom, all of them are exceptional showmen. They all do a great job getting things set up and knowing where their animal needs to be and how they need to be set. These three, for me, I think it's super close, and you're pulling hairs and trying to determine on who you like and which way you're going to go. And for me, it just came down to personal preference and little details here and there, things that happen, how quickly we're fixing our correction, or how quickly we're correcting our cattle in terms of how they're positioned in the line or how their feet are set. And then there's also a couple in here that do a little bit better of a job when they pull their cattle into the line. They actually pull them into position, so they're not really having to fiddle with their feet too much. And I'm going to go ahead and lead off with the young lady here in the blue. I think she does that the best. When she pulls into line and gets stopped, her heifer pretty much automatically stops in exactly the position that it needs to be, and she does a great job correcting her when she's not. When you get down into the second hole is when it gets super close, because the young lady with the bull is almost rarely out of position until we get later here in the class and everybody's starting to get tired and antsy. And I'm going to go ahead and use her for reserve. I just think she's a really natural showman. I love the way she positions herself and the way she holds herself around the ring and the way she amplifies the positives of that bull. The young lady in third, super competitive. She's one that you could have her in first or third depending on whoever's in my role. But for me today, I just think there was a couple of times she was a little bit too out of position in the line, where she had her heifer angled in a way that wasn't the most appealing, or feet weren't set quite right. And I'd like to see her get those feet set just a little bit quicker when she gets her stop. But these three all did a phenomenal job. Give them a big round of applause. And the two young men who are gonna round out our class, I think they're both exceptional showmen, and I love how laid back they are and how quiet they are with their cattle. But unfortunately, in showmanship, sometimes we got to amplify our competitiveness a little bit, get a little bit more fired up to work our way up. But they did an excellent job as well. Give them all a round of applause as they exit the arena.
Your results from Class 407 of Intermediate Showmanship: in fifth place, we have Trey Stone. Fourth place is John Carter. Third place, Roma Ensko. Second place, your reserve intermediate showman is Allison Griffin. And your grand champion showman for your intermediate division is Bristol Pence. Up next into the ring will be our Class 410 of senior showmen. To classify for senior, you can be 15 to 21 years of age. We will have 3 entries within our senior showmanship division. We will have Jackson Place, Lillian Stavig, and Ada Pence. These are the 3 showmen competing for your senior champion and reserve champion.
All right, rounding off the show today with our senior showmanship, and I think a great way to do it. All three of them out here have done an exceptional job. Give them a round of applause, if you will. And I just want to say thank you again to the State Fair for having us. Thank you to all of you exhibitors who brought your cattle out here for Cash and I to evaluate. It's been a really enjoyable day. I had so much fun. Those pre-juniors, I think I would take every single one of them home. I had a blast with them, and I just really appreciate everybody for having us. And you have some exceptional kids and great cattle, and I just really appreciate you all having us. With that being said, I think this class pretty much sorts itself. Showmanship is really all about a partnership, and we have a couple of partners that aren't wanting to cooperate quite well. And this young lady here, she just runs away with it in my mind. She does an exceptional job. She's always got that heifer right where she needs it to be. She knows how to get her set up, and she's just my type of showman. Congratulations to her. The young lady here in the black is going to be in second place. When she came in, she was so intense. I told her that it looked like she was trying to burn a hole right through my brain. And I love the intensity and the competitiveness. I just think her calf today just doesn't want to cooperate with her to make this partnership work, but she did a great job as well. And the young man who's going to round out our class, again, heifer just doesn't want to quite work with him that well, just doesn't want to set up and stand still, but does a great job, really a nice, relaxed showman. Once again, let's give them all a big round of applause. Thanks for having us, and thanks for bringing us your cattle.
Your results for senior showmanship: in third place is Jackson Place. In second, your reserve champion is Lillian Stavig. And your grand champion senior showman is Ada Pence. Congratulations to all of our exhibitors on another successful year and show.
All right, everybody. Well, we're going to tally the points, and in the meantime, there's lunch being provided by one of our sponsors, Tony Rigatonis in Morrison. So go help yourself to meatball.